Well, good afternoon and welcome to my video chat. And I don't mind telling you, it's a Friday today, and I'm telling you that because we have this wonderful weekend ahead of us. It's going to be a beautiful weekend here in Marbella, Benavis, the Costa del Sol. And look, you're planning a holiday and you're thinking, where will we go? The winter time is here. Come on down here. I'm not saying it doesn't rain. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying it gets a bit chilly in the evening. Yes, it gets a bit chilly in the evening at times. But boy, is the weather so much better than anywhere else in Europe. So this is the place to come for your holiday. And better still, if you want to get a home for yourself down here, don't you deserve it? Isn't it about time? You've worked all your life. All your life. Isn't it time now to treat yourself to a home? Right, let's go on to the day's subject. I'm going to ask you a question now. You're comfortable. Do you ever get a bit anxious? There's the word, anxious, when you're going through customs. Does that ever happen to you? Now, I don't feel guilty about anything. I never take drugs. Excuse me, I'll rephrase that after doing a program about drugs and me. I never smuggle anything through. The biggest thing I ever smuggled through customs was in Dublin when I was quite young, maybe 20 or 18. Playboy magazine. I was terrified because you weren't in those days. There was no such thing as top shelf magazines, and I'd bought Playboy in London. This is shaking away here. I bought Playboy in London, and what do you call it? I took it through, but they took it off me. I was thinking to myself, they took it off me. They did, absolutely. But I mean, do you ever get anxious going through customs, think that you might be arrested for something you never did? Did you ever get that? So let me tell you of an experience I had and share it with you. I was flying to Bulgaria. My son's in Bulgaria on business. And I was flying down to Varna, Bulgaria, to visit them. Okay? And I went down and visited them, had a nice time. But it was when I was coming back through the departures. And you know, what is it about like Russian soldiers or police and Bulgarian and all that side of the world? They always wear their hats. You ever notice the back of their head? They always look like they're too small for them or too big, but always the back of their head. You notice that? Anyway, I had one of these passports that was in date. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it, totally valid. But you remember them? They had little pinprick things with the number printed on the page. Do you remember that? I'm sure you do. I mean, it's not long ago. This is not long ago. Anyway, as I was leaving, I gave him my passport and everything. And he looked at me. And in perfect English, he said, "What's this?" I said, "It's my passport." He says, "It's not." I said, "It is." And do you ever see that film, Midnight Express? I was beginning to think that I'm going to be put in some dungeon and left there for years before they sorted out my Irish passport. No, this is perfectly, look, there's the date, the second, no, it's not correct. One moment, please. Now, meanwhile, people are going through to go to departures to take the flight. I think I was flying to London, maybe. It doesn't matter. So the next minute, he brings me into a room. And this big general, or the big boss man comes in, big fellow. He said, "Where you get this passport?" And I said, "It's my passport." No, you make this. I said, "I didn't make it." And he showed me then the page with all the little numbers which were made out of little pins, you know. You remember that. In fact, I might have one here and I might put it up, a photograph of it for you. Oh, no. And I said, "Look, I've got a flight to catch." And, you know, they're on departure now. "Well, no, you have to check. We have to check." And he held me in a room. And I swear to you, all I was waiting now for was for the police van to come and take me away. Take me away. Anyway, he came back and he handed me back my passport. And I thought I was ready for the handcuffs. And he said, "Okay, but no come to Bulgaria anymore. This is an outdated passport." And I said, "It's the date." No, That's the outdated one. You love my accent, do you? When I put these accents on, my kids think I'm speaking with a Welsh or Cork accent. Anyway, that was that fright I had there. In America, I had another bit of a problem with my passport. It was the same passport. And I flew to America to a family funeral. So it was organised very quickly. My ticket, I think, came from Melcourt. I was on radio 1 minute. Then I heard about this tragic death, flew down in my car to El Corte Inglés. They have a ticket, or had a ticket test. They might still have one. Flew down and booked a ticket to San Francisco. But when I flew in, I was delighted and surprised. You know, when you arrive in America, you go through immigration, whatever you call it, and there's normally a huge queue. But whatever time of day this was, there was hardly anyone there. And I gave the policewoman my passport. And she said, sorry, this is out of date. You can't come in. Well, I said, look, there's the date. No, but it's an out-of-date passport. It's meant to be, what you call it? It's meant to be like the numbers. It comes on a bar, like a toolbar. You know what I mean? A bar. Barcode is the word. Geez, do you know, as you get older, I forget what I'm talking about. Barcode. Anyway, she says, you have to go over there. And I went into this room and it was full of immigrants. They all didn't look American. I had to take a number. And I waited. Babies crying and screaming and God knows what. So my number came up and I went over to the desk, the police, American police, and they looked at my passport. She had handed it in, the policewoman. I didn't take it with me. And he said to me, you can't come into our country. We're sending you back. Why? The passport it has to have a barcode on it, and you've got the old-fashioned number pricked onto it. Excuse my language. I said, well, that's the way it was. That's the way it is. He said, I'm sorry, you can't come in. So then I had to use all my skills. I swear to God this is true. I said, look, one of my family tragically died, and I'm only here till Tuesday. You see? I swear, within minutes, I had them watching clips from my TV show. And I said, come on, let me come in, please. Anyway, they printed out like 6, 7, 8 or 9 pages. It was unbelievable for me to sign. And they told me if I don't leave the country, they're going to have me arrested on Tuesday at the flight that I was meant to go on, which I did, of course. But it is quite scary, don't you think, going through customs at times? You wonder, I heard a story of someone I knew very well down here, in fact, ran a restaurant down here, a very nice guy. And he was going through Malaga. And he was stopped at the customs near the passport. And he stopped at the customs. I hate that when they pick your passport up and they're going, and they speak to the guy here. Oh, Jesus, I hate that. I'm panicking already. Anyway, this person I know, a friend of mine, we didn't socialise, but I knew him very well. Do you hear the motorbike? The sound of the Ronda Road. Oh, listen, so they, I knew him quite well. So he's going through passport and Malaga Airport, and they took him aside. Then they took him to a room, and they arrested him. They took him to an airport jail, then they put him in a, what do you call them, Black Marias, and took him to Malaga something, jail, prison, whatever, I don't know. Now, he asked the police what was he arrested for, and they said they didn't actually know, but he's in court on Tuesday. Now, this was Friday, and Monday was a bank holiday, so there was no court. I swear to you this is true. And if he's listening, he'll know exactly who he is. And he was put in a cell with a lot of drug addicts. She's probably the odd murderer in there. It was this. He said the smell of urine and the smell of you know what was unbelievable. They had to sleep practically just stone until he was called for court. And he went to court on the Tuesday, and his charge was something like 30 parking tickets, which he hadn't paid. Okay, you think, but to go to jail for 4 or 5 days with no charge. Anyway, he paid it. So I am always frightened when they go, not frightened, but I'm sort of a bit stressed. And they open your passport, then they look at you, they open the passport, they look at you, then they start typing stuff in you. Oh my God, maybe a mistaken identity. Maybe. Anyway, that's it. I hope you have a great weekend. And if you're probably, people listening to this now are flying over the weekend, don't get panicky when you go through the customs. Do you ever hear of Irish logic? Irish logic. I love this little bit of Irish logic, right? A psychiatrist doing a test on some Irish fella. He said, tell me, what would you do if your son swallowed the key of the front door of the house? Oh, Jay-Z said, I'd climb through the window. See, Irish logic. Have a great week.